Hey going guys, uh, this is a big announcement I'd like to make, one that I've thought about considerably after experiencing some good fortune on Tuesday. Um, just a little story, what happened is on Tuesday I got paid, and usually when I get paid I go straight to visiting all the game stores in my area, and I went to my local EB Games, and it's finally occurred to me that they're finally trying to get rid of all their PS2 games, because I saw some games there that I passed when I was back in the day that are going for $10, and I'm like, holy crap. Um, I think what I really want to do is I want to take advantage of this opportunity before they completely go through their entire stock. Just to show you, this is one of the games that I picked up for dirt cheap, and that's a copy of Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. I totally missed this out back in the day, and I was really amazed that I picked this up for really dirt cheap. And it got the idea that if I can, you know, the idea that I have is I'm going to tackle every PAL PS2 game that I don't have, I am going to collect. And I'm going to do the same thing for my PlayStation 1 collection. So pretty much I vow to, at this moment, going to collect every RPG, starting with the PAL versions. Because there wasn't many PAL versions released, they're more accessible and in some instances more rare than collecting their NTSC or Japanese counterparts. Uh, so what I did yesterday is I did my homework and I went to various sites. The biggest one that helped me was GameFAQs.com, and they have a list, of course, an entire catalog of every game that ever existed. But in their data pages, they also have every game that's released, every version. And if it comes up AU or EU, that's the PAL release of that version. So what I did all day is I pretty much went through the entire catalog of PS2 and PS1 games and to see which ones I didn't have. And occurred to me that I have collected quite a few over the years, and I'm quite proud of that, but I've still got a long ways to go. So what I've decided to do is I've comprised a list, and it's got this list here that I've got here has every PlayStation 1 game that I haven't owned yet. Stupid of me, of course, I actually have owned some of these games at one stage or another, but had to give them up for some obvious reasons. And I feel like a fool that I couldn't hold on to them. So now I'm going to have to buy them back. But here's all the games that I've yet to buy for my PlayStation 1 collection and finish up the PAL version collection. And that is the first one. I'll read them all out. And there's Alundra 2. There's, which I have Hideout before and beaten. It's not as good as Alundra 1, but it's still not a bad game. The second one is Azure Dreams by Konami, which is a nice little RPG. I never got the chance to buy back in the day, so I'm going to look high and low for that one. The third one is Blaze and Blade, which was a weird little RPG that I did play back in the day. Came no close to finishing it, and it had a weird system. Breath of Fire 3 and 4. I never owned Breath of Fire 3. I hide it out a lot. I did own 4, and I thought it was really stupid of me to get rid of 4 because it's become one of the most sought after items on eBay. So, next one is FF Origins. It didn't occur to me to buy the PlayStation version because I have 1 and 2 for the PSP. So now I'm decided I'm going to buy the Origins pack on the PlayStation 1. Next game is J Cocoon, which I've never seen to the light of day, so I'm going to really look high and low for that one. Next one is Kingsfield, a game that I'm not really fond of, but back in the day, it did make an impression being one of the first release games, but since I want to have a complete collection, I'm going to get it. Next game is Guardians Crusade, which is a nice little my first RPG that I played. It's alright. Next one is Krudelka, which is a 4, if I remember correctly, it's a 4-disc game, and I remember seeing this in the video store, but I passed up the opportunity to play it. Now, it's one of the odd titles that I've completely forgotten about. But when I did my list, I just remembered it, and I think that might be my number one game that I'm going to look for. The next one is Monkey Hero, which is a nice little action RPG based on um, Journey to the West. Uh, there's Parasite Eve 2, which was the only Parasite Eve game released in PAL format. I just and that was another game that I passed up during the back in the day. There's Saga Frontier 2. Um, I will collect it for my collection, but I remember getting very frustrated with the game back in the day because it had an unforgiving system. Uh, so yeah, and I also have Shadow Madness, Dragon Valor by Namco. Wild Arms, I have played Wild Arms. I have finished it. It is gorgeous. I absolutely love that game. So I'm definitely going to be up the top of the list. Grandia, I actually have owned Grandia in the past, but one of the discs was scratched beyond recognition, so I've got to find another copy. Legend of Legaia, I've also hired that one out and I've finished it completely. My sister has a copy, but I know for a fact she won't want to relinquish her copy, so I'll go find my own. Star Ocean, the second story, as you know, I just got the PSP version, but I want the PlayStation 1 version. And last but not least, and very seriously least, this is probably without a doubt my most hated PS1 game and probably my most disliked RPG ever made. But because I'm going to have a complete collection, I'm going to have to suffer for this, and that is Squaresoft's Vagrant Story. It gives me chills the fact that I'm going to have to collect that game, but I probably will buy it for dirt cheap and it's just going to sit on my shelf. It's not going to be played or anything. So, because PS1 games are rare, I think I will have to pay the premium for some of them. But the main list that I compiled is the PS2 titles that I'm going to search through for high and low at all my video game stores before they completely get rid of the entire stock. Um, Here's the two-page list I acquired, and the one thing that annoys me about this list is I have owned nearly half this list but had to give up the games one stage or another. If I could go back in time, I'd tell myself not to get rid of these titles. The first one is Valkyrie Profile 2. I remember playing it for about 3 hours and completely frustrated the hell out of me, so I'm going to have to find another copy of that. Fantasy Star Universe. At the end of the game really frustrated me and I got rid of it because of another game that came out, so I have to look for that. Disgaea 1 and 2, which sounds crazy to a lot of people because they are rare as hell, but yes, I got fed up with Nippon Ichi and got rid of all my Nippon Ichi games because I just lost interest in their style. We'll have to go search for those two games again. Next one is all four dot hack games, which I've never played before, so it'll be very interesting if I can get my hands on them for dirt cheap. The next two is El Tonlico, is that pronounced correctly? 1 and 2. Apparently they did get released in PAL format, but I've never seen a copy in any Australian stores whatsoever, so it might have been just very limited numbers for the UK. So it'll be interesting trying to find them. Next one is Arcalad Twilight of Spirits. I actually own the NTSC version of that, so I'm going to look for the PAL version. Next three games is the Atelier Iris series. Again, I owned 1, 2, and 3, but I gave them up. I feel like an idiot for doing that, so I've got to find them all again. Dark Cloud 1 and 2, and this is the biggest two games that I deeply regret having to get rid of because I absolutely love them. So I have to go find them again, but they're actually the highest priority on my list. Next two games is Drakengard 1 and 2. I applaud Square for doing something different. It's definitely the darkest games they ever made by million miles far, but I thought it was a bit too repetitive in the battle sequences, so see if I can pick them up for real dirt cheap. Next one is forgive my pronunciation, Enfrentiel Fantasia, and a lot of people know this as one of the first generation PS2 titles by Konami, and it's been labeled one of the worst games ever made. So, but because I want a full RPG collection, I'm gonna buy it, and it's gonna be interesting to find it. Next one's Eternal Ring. And then we got Grandia 2. I did own Grandia 2 back in the day. The story kind of, it wasn't terrible, but I got sidetracked playing it. It would be nice to find another copy and finish it. Next one is Growlancer, The Heritage of War, which is the only Growlancer game ever released on a PAL platform. And it's one of the last RPGs ever released on the PS2. Next one's J Cocoon 2, which I've only seen once. Hopefully I'll be able to find it. There's a Kingsfield 4, which I've only seen once. There's a Legea Jewel Saga, which I have seen for rent, but never had the chance to get it. So, Makai Kingdom Chronicles of the Sacred Tome. If there's one Nipponichi game that I want to play, it's probably this one, because it looks like it has a lot of character, and I really like the looks of the main character. The fact he turns into this giant book is pretty cool. Next one is Magna Carta Tears of Blood. I played this for an hour and I couldn't hit the power off button quick enough. It just irked me, but I'm gonna get it. Next one I don't think is quite an RPG. It was listed as an RPG on GameFAQs, and of course that's Monster Hunter. I don't know whether to label it as an RPG or not, but I probably will get it anyway just to play it. Next game is Musashi Samurai Legend. I have actually owned this game but had to give it up. I did completely finish it, and it was a really nice little action RPG. The story at times was tongue-in-cheek, and it was definitely a different take on an action RPG genre, but I really liked the graphics. The next one is Orphan Section of Sorcery. I really love the anime series. For some reason I passed this up because I was told by everyone, don't even touch it. But bad or good, terrible or awesome, I'm going to collect every RPG, so I'm going to get it. Next one is Phantom Brave. Of course I own this, but when I got rid of all my Nipponichi games, that was included. Next up is the Shadow Hearts games, which is Shadow Hearts Covenant, and Shadow Hearts From the New World. I've seen some copies of From the New World for new, so probably snag that up. The next one is Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 1, which is the only Shin Megami Tensei game in PAL format that I haven't collected. So once I get that, I'll have every PAL Shin Megami Tensei game, which would be cool. The next one, and I know for a fact I will not be able to get this cheap no matter where I go. It will definitely be the one that I'll have to pay the premium, because it's considered to be a rare sought out item by a lot of people, and that's Star Ocean Till the End of Time. Of course, stupid me, I actually did own this game and I got rid of it. I beat this, but the end of the game had me so frustrated I couldn't even look at the game again. Definitely going to get this one, not only because I want a full collection, because I'm actually into a Star Ocean binge right now, so I'm definitely looking for that. And the next game is Steambot Chronicles, and I actually have bought this for $5, but I gave it away to a friend because I couldn't get into it. Now I've got to see if I can get it back or buy a new copy. The next game is Unlimited Saga. Now I know for a fact this game is absolutely horrendously terrible. I've seen it played and it hurts my eyes to even look at it, but I'm gonna have to get it for the full collection. Next few games is Wild Arms 3, 4 and 5. I'm looking forward to getting them. I've owned 3 but had to get rid of it. I haven't owned 4 and 5, but I'm looking forward to finding those, so I'll definitely get them. Next game is Xenosaga Episode 2. I have owned this, but something about the grinding in that game made it extremely difficult for me to even play. I really enjoyed the graphs, but I preferred if I played Episode 1 first. Just going straight into Episode 2 and having a DVD of 1 explaining the story was just not enough. There's La Prusiel Tactics, and the last one is Ring of Red. So those are the list of games that I've started. I'm going to start off with the PAL games for PS1, PS2. Then I'm going to move on to the PSP, but I'm not going to label as PAL because it's region free. So that's going to be the English PSP list that I'm comprising, and then I'm going to do a DS list. I'm running out of time, so I will do one more video before the day is out, so stay tuned.